Okay, so this is the JC Penney 6241. They're from memory 1970s, late 70s radio, and I fell in love with them about a year ago, and we bought one, and we bought two, and then we somehow bought three, and one of them was a little bit average, so I was able to scavenge a few bits and pieces to make the other one look really nice. But this particular one is actually really, really nice, just as it is. It's one of those radios that just has a beautiful looking front on it. As you can see, the knobs, the brushed aluminium knobs of them, it's just a way, as I pan the camera, they really do look beautiful. And it really shrieks of the 70s, late 70s, even early, but I'm pretty sure these were late. But this is the one that we're going to put up for sale. I've got one really, really nice one like this one, and then I've got a bit of a parts radio left over, so we went a little bit silly buying three, but anyway, that doesn't matter. So from one end to the other, volume, squelch, like so. RF gain obviously does what it does. Channel, which is a very nice feeling channel selector. It's actually very, very nice, and as you'll see, all the digits work, and as we go through the various channels, and it's one of the things these days, some of the radios getting a little bit older and some of the digits start to give you a bit of trouble, but this is looking extremely nice. Then basically your clarifier, which they're designating as a fine tune. We just had a big storm come through here, so as you can hear all the pops and crackles. So there's not a lot of skip coming through right now. The tone and SWR calibration. On the top, your meter is basically SWR, RF, and then calibration. And basically, next one along, AM SSB. Then you select between AM and between USB and LSB. I'll be right. ANL, noise blanker, and then obviously CBPA, which just flicks it all off like so. All the controls are really nice on it. Nothing's scratchy. Nothing's probably sounds like it's scratchy with that thunder and lightning outside. And that's really, really nice. And as you can see, beautiful, beautiful covers on these things. They're just really, they did that sort of look on purpose. It was just something they did really well. Even the bail stand is something that I really like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The white and red 1, 2, 3 is aftermarket. That's been done, but the rest of the radio pretty standard. I'm just having a look at the output. It's pretty much standard output. 10 to 12 watts, which is what you'd expect out of a CB radio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just some carrier. If I just get my mic over here, 5.6 watts there. So it's doing pretty much what a standard radio should do. 1, 2. Actually, we'll have a look at the just whether or not we've got any little dots or any flat topping or anything like that. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's nice and rounded and doing like what we want it to do. So no, that's fine. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So this is the stuff that you used to see in truck stops around the US, and probably it was around the time I made my first trip to the US when I was 18 years old, and that was in 1981. And geez, I have to check those numbers when I'm getting so old now. 81 I went over, 83 I was back over, and you'd see these a lot in truck stops, and and I used to see these really nice brushed aluminium radios, and I suppose that's why I went a bit crazy and bought three of them. But they are really, really nice radios. And the thing that people don't know, because they sort of see the mobile front and you see how it looks like a just a normal mobile radio. Well, it's a little bit more than that, because if you have a look, it's quite a long radio, very long radio. And the reason for that is in that back section of the radio from there to there, they have a transformer and filtering circuit, etc., which you can either run this off 110 or 240 volts. Sorry, wrong, 110 or 12 volts. Jeez, I'm going well today. Not enough sleep. So basically, you could, obviously in Australia here, just run it off your 12-volt supply, and that's fine. I'm running it off a 110-volt supply at the moment, but that cord won't go with it. Those cords are pretty hard to get, to be honest, so you may have to doctor up just a 12-volt lead, or go in on the AC side if you've got a 110-volt converter. But I can give you the plug connections, that's not a problem. But I haven't been able to get spare. I've got one power cord between 3 radios. Is probably and this is where we've been thinking, whether or not we move one of them over to 240 volts, but we're not going to. I decided that I want to keep them as they were. We've got these 110 volt boxes around the place for a reason, and I just like leaving them as they are. I'm not really into wanting to change them overly. I think they're a nice piece of history. All right, well, I'll put this with the advert. This one's going to go for sale. At least you've got a bit of a look at what it is and what its functionality is. I will warn you, they're not cheap, but by the same token, that's because they're a bit heavy. The price from the US is really relevant to freight, GST, and obviously some of the things that just cost. And the US dollar cost. Yeah, well, that's not so good either. But she's pretty good. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Test test test. 1 2 3 4 5. All right. Well, let's call that quits. And that's the JC Penney 6241. Beautiful radio. There is only one, but for sale at least anyway, that we've got. We'll always keep one here, and a spares radio as well. And look, if whoever buys this, if you get a spares issue, certainly talk to me at any stage of the life of this radio, because that's exactly why we're keeping a spares radio, just in case there's parts that we can't get. But pretty common or garden in the 1970s, so it's not so bad. All right, 73 is all the best, and that's the radio. Cheers.